Okay, this is test for recording, but it works. Now let's start have a discussion about how to tell the scammer usually a part of the art center. So I was open up a minute. Now, oops. What? Let me sum it up a little bit. Perfect. How you identify the scammer? Um, I was online seller as Deafartistan, and just what I ever noticed how some customer who is pretending a scammer and trying to deceive me purely trick. So, for the first time, we always struggle. Who are we trusting? The customer useful these days, whether trustworthy or the scammer, we can't really tell the first look. So I might have some ideas, also ways you can detect the scammers. So usually the first time buyers that opt to introduce themselves and express interest in the custom artwork of what you post that got their attention. They usually describe what they want, but not always the fair the curious. But most requires the same durable by standpoint. But however, the one detail makes you feel off where is to start kicking. Now, but it's very important to take a note how customer behaves. But customer have different ways of communication style. Some are ordinary, some are off. But here's the thing what I caught the other day. I had a customer who kept saying that her account seems to be lost account, hack account, that keep going and other stuff. And I realized there is a red flag there because on social media that was connected to your email. And usually when we make in short time period, and that's where I just start getting the off feeling about what's going on. So it's important to remember, okay, how is the cow was red flag to social media? Just keep that in mind how that happens. Was the account hacked? Was the hiding something very fishy? But we have to be careful at the time how. But it's important to trust your instinct. But don't be gullible self without the scammers. They are the way try to deceive you. So it's gonna be take a while, but please bear with me. Now, normally, my perspective, I finished all work in order to stay professional, you know, as because I always complete the artwork before I deliver the discussion of final details. Maintain a professional tone throughout, especially you ensure the buyer's intention. So your tone set a boundary and signal you're serious to skill, but not easily manipulated. That's my point of a tone, where scammer will I feel like, oh great, I can't really deceive this guy. The guy may be too smart. I'm have a bad friend, he may be fishy. Not fishy, but maybe too much knowing. So unfortunately I had the schemers happen time to time, which I'm not really happy about it. But you have realized there is an interesting patterns where the scammers mission in and how they behave. Now, let's find out. Before you set up, well, in order to set up your payment plan before you start, as my recommendation as an artist, because you're buying minerals out of your wallet, your money, you know. So what happened when confirm the payment to make sure you process the medicament really? But what happened? When you finish up work, you spend all that money, and then you find out scammer. You're like, oh great, I waste money. Or you always can keep the minimums for somebody else who actually keen buyer, who willing to buy it. So now, between you and the customer will have to start this customer payment plan before you start the artwork. So let's break down the price and make sure they understand clearly the minimal labor, which time, a custom request, the size, the backgrounds, the more work. That was a part of the artwork that was required to finish. So, an example. I'm gonna give you my example, but does not accurate. Just a general example of this part of the third one. So the starter offers option to customer 50 upfront, a 50 upon completion. So the full payment before every installment of larger project, the credit download. To make sure you use secure platform like PayPal, Venmo, Sally, but make sure you avoid unfamiliar methods. So if they listen or delay the payment, just pause the project. Because they will try to waste your time. You make a great artwork, you make it fast, like where the customer buy it, but it turn out you waste a lot of time. But it's not, I'm not saying it's not great for experience, but I rather want to be cautious than feeling sorry about it. So, next page. Uh, Before you begin, you have to clarify your upfront art policy. Before you send any menu to the customer, you have to pause it. You don't begin artwork until upfront art fee is paid. Perhaps, in my opinion, they usually don't mind. But here's the thing, you don't need to spell on everything, but you have to state it very clear. So if they add surprise, confused, that's okay. But you're not trying to be rude, really. But you try to be professional with that time, tools, and models. You know, so if they refuse or delay payment, you're supposed to start until the pay is full, or have to pay the suckers. So you don't want to waste your labor. Now, and not sound greedy, but it's more of potato form. Why? When you give something like family people, normally you get the money from somebody that will email you right away from 20 people. And they say, hey, Mike, or hey, customer, we have your money, you send it in the bank. But problem is, if they straight to spam, something is wrong. You got an email, the email was through, but the money wasn't. So we have to make sure it was communicating or not. So it's a part form of petition. So it was running spam. Like, yep, I knew it. The person might be scamming me. You have to make sure. You have to be really careful about it. Now, understand? I said that one screenshot not enough. I told my customer, but who is scammer, and I say, I want to see a screenshot that said you sent me some kind of proof, but they sent me. So I make sure I read it. Okay. So I look at my Gmail or any email, and I say there's a pop it up straight to primary. So usually primary that have a certain coding that is actually from the company. But it's interesting how the coding works between Gmails, emails, all that. But it's interesting. So if your cow show no money, right, don't start. Because the scammer use a design of fake email pairing. So they always verify through the secure private password. So how to spot fake email? There's many ways. But as like first beginning, if it goes spam, that was a red flag. Red flag right here. So you realize something is add up. So what happened? You have to ask yourself why something like a trust company, credibly trustworthy company of PayPal, Famo, any 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 website. And would you have it in the email? Like personally, because you had the account there, why does it end up as spam? That's one. Two, you're gonna have to look for your trust company. I'm sorry, your sender's email address. As a question yourself, is that like legitimate? is that what the company from? It doesn't have Gmail or email. Most time, customers cannot use. Uh, Come on, most times scammers use Gmail, some others not. But you just pay attention, format, how to set up, how to spell the grammars, phone numbers, other areas, format strange, many things. So now. So when you get the person, you know the customer's name, right? Their last name, first name, and then you receive it. It looks like a whole different first and last name. So what happened? And it doesn't match the payment information. For example, would you read the email the same? For example, a customer I agree to the customer will pay me, let's say, $150, but okay. And then the email pop up with a different name and it says a different name but the same cost and that. But just then, and obviously there's a time gap between the customer and the fake email. Turns out, I was thinking quietly with the customer was probably first sent it to me before that the fake email before the personal. So I realized, yeah, it's turned out a scamming, really. That's one part of the raise of a flag more because there were close time gap. So, and when you read the email, you realize there's a phone number and there's a question. Wait a minute. Does it look right? I'm not sure phone number it is, but you know what? I'm just copy pasting the website and find out if that's the company's phone number or not. Most time they use the personal phone number, bank phone number, or electronic, well, not electronic, but personal most. So if anything fell off, stop, investigate. So that's the first thing I would recommend it to you as an artist. Protect yourself and memory. Right now is red, big, bold word. Now, if action, take action if something was off. So, what happened? You want to make sure you need change your email, password, and you want to make sure you cut the payment company to report anything suspicious activity. Don't wait. Protect your account and your art. That's what I would recommend it. So, some of the emails I haven't received from the payment company, not from them personally, but went straight spam. I've seen they use something called fish and bait scam. Sometimes, for example, you would say, "Hey, we can't help you because we need to raise up your credit limit," and they say, "You know what? Tell your customer the rest of this price amount." So that's why it doesn't make any sense why I'm telling them to raise up more. I'm gonna sample them. I mentioned my number. Let's say $500, right? Okay. I charge that person for the artwork, for example. Now the email may say want me to raise up $400. I told her to send it to me, which I set back $400. But that's already right because that's called fish and bait scam. Why? Because your bank information that went straight to your bank. And then you go back to the schema. The schema again, your bank number, your PIN, your address, it's possible your last four social security number. Maybe over thin, but that's why you end up like, oh, they took all that sensitive information. So you may want to be really careful about where you just in the case. But you will, because if you fell for that, you'll be losing the money and exposed your bank information. So don't do it. Just say stop back. Make sure you upload that in pictures that have it used on the website. Like I will show you more when we get to the few stats. So what's next? I'm gonna give you a real example. Let's walk through a similar case what I had and to tell how I operate and how shut them down. Okay. So Part of FIMO example, my experience, they say an unusual payment requires to sub more $100, like 300 more, to unlock the previous payment. That's part of classic big tactic. So the nature made of FIMO will never requires you to get additional money to release the fund. That's sitting. But in the part of the email, they mentioned daily excessive limit. So, a part of fabricating the technique barrier is justified a part of scam, we understand, but which is famous and then meant to manage internally, it don't require a third party intervention. But a part of the email turns out it has third party intervention, which doesn't make sense. So, the personal information, for example, I made up a guy named David, right, as an example. It was had his phone number of him, which raised up a huge flag, but that's privacy. So our physical platform don't really tell out about it. So it's the promise of a larger sum that's offered. I made up a number, let's say $720. But you send up $420. The one triple up 300 more. But force them, but nope. You may want to be careful because that biological bait can make it feel like you're getting a deal, but why? Or the Venmo email trying to make a deal when it's between you and the customer. It doesn't make any sense. So, a part of that, they have no secure Venmo domain. If the sender's email is end up at Venmo.com, that's not from Venmo, really. And spoofing is possible, but I would recommend a picture. Gmail with the company's name, Fembo, a picture. They will solve it for you. Just put there today. But I would rather screenshot it, just protect yourself. But you want to be very careful. So, another one example of people that are giving out a fake business account barrier. The claims your account is a business and I can't receive, like they can't receive $500 and made up this restriction. So a real platform don't tell you about it. That's why it doesn't make sense. So they're trying to pressure you to add urgently. If you have to take a step, but it's really inspiring to play again. So the scammer thrives. They want you to rush. They want you paranoid. They want you listen to the scammer. No, don't let the scammer hurt. Just be cautious around them. Step back, take a breath, find a way. Found a way, screenshot, then send it to the publisher and change the password for your account to make sure your account is secure so they won't get anything from you. But here's the thing. It's similar with the first second example. So it's saying we're finding a loophole that actually $400 more to percent and promise a fund later, but that's a trap. Want you some money? God. Or maybe worse, to come you own more. Some of my friends had a problem with scammers on social media, but very similar approach. So, what you do, if you get that kind of scamming, just report to Fisher. They will find out who has it, where it's from, all that information to leak the scammer out. So, strengthens what I've realized is of a similar formula, and I found technical barrier that makes additional payment resolve the issue, promise a larger payout once you complain. And you send a frank authority which a cold personal control bypass of physical channels. So if I know with Gmail, I point out an example. If you look carefully and the site servicepeople.ssso website so I swear I'm stuck off Y dot and Gmail on Google. Does it feel right, listen? Is that cold a minute? Doesn't make sense. So, to have lies, when you read it honestly how the word that shows a very fake language. As It's really different language. So I say, hey, we have a current little problem with the crediting of your account, followed by why we need this. And I'm about suspicious, but in correlation. The real financial institution don't ask that kind of riddle. So it's no actionable details, no traditionality, account run for us, no explanation, just a blank prompt, just beg to reply. So I give a sample, I wrote it in mind, respond, and flag it up. So I make sure to report it, which is good instant, but you have to trust your instinct. Do not feel for the trap. Okay? What you do, that's a kind of example. So, a spoofing people support, you can contact support FMO, report publishing books, some has a report or petition, egg FMO, for example. You can report from them for them. Now, while the companies are tracking the scam patterns, it helps them, but also it protects the user from falling the same trick. But it can then scammers lives in the access to the bank account domain. And I mentioned that earlier, one of the customer that lost 3 accounts. Well, multiple. I don't know how many, but my witness, I've seen this 3 times. So when I realized that, because people report them already. So you may want to be careful, right, with you, because reporting will make a community safer, but it makes them do more work. You understand what I'm saying? So, but I also want to make sure that they stop doing that. Now, but thanks for watching. Be safe. And if you watch my video and not so sure and need more help, you can always screenshot it be part of your communication that between you and the schemer that's sent to the AI, like for example Copilot or any form of AI that will detect they're gonna help you out, detect which one's accurate, which one's not, well which one's fake, which one's real, that will help you out with no problem. So I wish you the best and take care. Thanks for watching.